Okay. We're getting a thumbs up from the upstairs people. Alrighty. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the City of Hialeah Planning and Zoning Board meeting for Wednesday, April 12th, 2023. Everyone, please rise for the invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance. Lord, we thank you for this opportunity to grant us here tonight. We ask that you please watch over us and guide us as we make these decisions tonight. Just look out for us. Make sure that we make the right decisions. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You all may be seated. Do we have people on Zoom? No? Oh, okay.
Meeting guidelines. The following guidelines apply to today's planning and zoning board meeting. Any person, whether participating via the web platform, telephonic conferencing, or physical presence at City Hall, interested in making comments or posing questions on any item on the agenda may do so during the meeting. Members of the public may hear the meeting live through telephonic conferencing using any telephone or cell phone service. A smart device or computer are not necessary to participate in the meeting if you join by phone. All persons participating via the web platform will be muted during the meeting until called upon to be heard. Participation through Zoom requires a computer or smart mobile device with a microphone and web camera. The participant may elect to participate in the meeting using audio only or appear through both audio and video. The video function of all participants appearing through video will be turned off until called upon to be heard. All lobbyists must register with the Planning and Zoning Board prior to item being heard. A maximum of 4 speakers in favor and 4 speakers in opposition will be allowed to address the Planning and Zoning Board on any item. Each speaker's comments will be limited to 3 minutes. Item number 1, roll call. Mr. D. Perez?
Here.
Mr. Ramon?
Here.
Mr. Iglesias?
Here.
Mr. Jimenez?
Here.
Mr. Ulloa?
Here.
Mr. Casanova?
Here.
Mrs. Enriquez?
Here.
We have a quorum. Item number 2, approval of Planning and Zoning Board summary agenda of March 29th, 2023, as submitted.
Need a motion and a second, please?
Motion to approve.
Second the motion.
Motion by Mr. Casanova, second by Mr. Iglesias. Mr. Ramon?
Yes.
Mr. Iglesias?
Yes.
Mr. Jimenez?
Yes.
Mr. Casanova?
Yes.
Mr. Ulloa?
Yes.
Mrs. Enriquez?
Yes.
Mr. D. Perez?
Yes.
Item has been approved.
Frank. Frank, do you have an item tonight or are you represent? Okay.
Administration of oath to all applicants and anyone who will be speaking before the board on any item.
Please stand, raise your hand, and if there's anyone in Zoom, do the same, please.
Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth before this board?
All right, no one in Zoom, so let the record show that Frank made a very positive comment. He swears, so it's good to go.
A written decision and resolution will be prepared and presented for review to the city council. The city council is authorized to affirm with conditions, or override the decisions by resolution. After the resolution is adopted, contact a member of the city clerk's office to obtain a copy of the final decision and resolution. Upon your receipt of the final decision and resolution, contact the building department to obtain your required building permit. Summary minutes or a copy of the audio file of the proceedings before the Planning and Zoning Board shall be prepared and submitted to the city council before its hearing. The Planning and Zoning Board recommendations for the following public hearing requests will be heard by the city council at a scheduled meeting of Tuesday, April 25th, 2023. Item number 3. Rezoning property from R1, 1 family district to R2, 1 and 2 family residential district for the construction of a new duplex. Variance permit to allow front setback of 17.67 feet where 25 feet are required. Allow rear setback of 20 feet where 25 feet are required, and allow lot coverage of 31.30% where 30% is the maximum allowed. Property is located at 501 East 59th Street, Hialeah zoned R1, 1 family district. Applicant Suniel Arzola.
Suniel Arzola. Are you representing them?
Yes.
Okay. Name and address, please.
Frank De La Paz, 9361 Bird Road, Miami.
Thank you, sir.
The property in this application is a corner lot located at the northeast intersection of East 59th Street and East Fifth Avenue. The property is improved with a residential building built in 1948 as a building one of two buildings built on a larger parcel, informally subdivided starting in 1988. Building one had two living units and addresses 501 and 505 East 59th Street. Building permit 9603 from November 24, 1948 states that the subject duplex was built on an 80 feet by 139 feet parcel, 11,120 square feet. Building two was issued address 515 East 59th Street in 1989 and a new folio number. A third building was built in 1967 on the adjacent parcel to the north. The property is zoned R1. At this time, the applicant is before the city with a proposal to enlarge and remodel the existing building to include a two-bedroom, two-bathroom unit and a three-bedroom, two-bathroom unit and exterior upgrades proposing a contemporary look. The existing building has 1,096 square feet and once enlarged and remodeled will have 2,467 square feet, representing 125% increase of size. The proposed expansion would require a variance permit to allow the expansion of a non-conforming use, a duplex on an R1 zone property, or rezoning from R1 to R2 and variances related to lot coverage and setbacks. Accordingly, the applicant is requesting rezoning from R1 to R2 and a variance to allow 17.67 front setback where 25 are required, allow 20 feet rear setback when 20 feet are required, and allow 31.3% lot coverage where 30% is the maximum allowed. Although the subject building was built as a duplex in 1948, it originally sat on a larger parcel of land, including the adjacent lots to the north and east, all consolidated in a single folio number. The original larger parcel was informally subdivided by selling the northern portion of the parcel in 1988, the eastern portion in 2006, and the subject parcel in 2021. Since the Miami-Dade County plat exceptions set forth in section 28-4 of the Miami-Dade County Code are not applicable to the subject property, the parcel will need to be platted. The current parcel size is 8,280 square feet, 79.62 feet by 104 feet, and was 11,120 square feet in 1948, according to the building permit records. All the properties in the block and surrounding blocks are zoned R1. The applicant's request to rezone the property to R2, if approved, will create a precedent in the area, encouraging others to rezone R1 properties to R2. The alternative to preserve the R1 zoning consistency would be to grant a variance to allow the expansion of a non-conforming use, honoring the 1948 approval of a duplex on the subject site. As for the setbacks, the requested 17.67 feet setback, where 25 feet are required, is an existing condition that should be approved, and the requested 20 feet rear setback should also be approved, since it will be consistent with the R1 zoning that would remain. The recommendation is to approve a variance to allow the expansion of a non-conforming use by allowing a 125% building footprint increase of an existing duplex approved in 1948, approved front setback of 17.67 feet and rear setback of 20 feet, and 31% lot coverage, subject to the condition that the property will be platted before the issuance of a certificate of occupancy, and that the applicant will be responsible for the infrastructure upgrade that might be required for the proposed building expansion.
Thank you, Mrs. Storch. Frank,
Good evening.
evening.
Well, I agree with what had been said. Unfortunately, if this whole thing would have been caught up at the beginning when we first started, it would have been done by now. We purchased a duplex. There was a duplex, and even though the properties were sold as stated, they were previously developed by the same original owner that owned the duplex. He built one house to the east, And then he built another house to the north. And then eventually he sold them. And then eventually they die and the duplex cast off. And we bought a duplex as a duplex, thinking that it was a legal non-conforming, which basically was. If I had known that it will entail other things, we would have done it much earlier. We came in and we started the process, and then it got caught up that we needed having a better term, to rebaptize the property, and let's do it as a rezoning. So for future generations, we didn't have the same issues. Then the concern that the neighbors will say, well, we don't want a duplex, so the alternative is admissible to us. It will serve the same purpose, to rehab a building that has been there since 1948, before it was even a zoning ordinance. So I agree with the recommendations. We would just like to move forward, so we can continue with a building permit process, and we'll start the replat immediately after this goes to council. So by the time we get the replat, we'll be able to get a CO for the duplex. I think that will be a win for everybody else. The original mango tree in the front will remain. We are connecting the property to sewer because, believe it or not, it was still in septic tank. We are putting new water meters through the avenue because, you believe it or not, the water was coming through the parcel to the north, because since the guy used to have a little family compound there, he didn't care where the water came in. So we put in new water lines and new sewage line in order to make this a standalone project that will look as nice as everything else that we have been involved with. Which, by the way, I wasn't here last meeting, but for some reason in one of the city council or city zoning board hearings, the department was showing prior project of us as an example of how beautiful new developments are.
Bueno,
And we didn't get no credit on that one.
yeah.
But I did notice
Which
it,
one
you
was
know.
that?
No, remember that we pulled something in Google and we show you a nice duplex that we
Oh.
approve and say how nice it looks.
You see these houses?
Yes,
Yeah.
there you go. Hey,
Excellent.
look,
That looks familiar,
Yeah.
but it's okay. you
pat
know.
yourself in the back.
We didn't get no credit, but that's okay.
Hmm.
So
Ah.
that's we are where we are with this.
Those are public records. They're not copyrighted.
I
so
know,
you
I know,
can't-
I know.
Okay,
I know.
all right. Any comments or questions?
So basically what we are doing is amending the petition. Instead of rezoning from R1 to R2, we are granting a variance to expand the non-conforming use and the setbacks that he's asking for and the lot coverage. So in that way, we preserve the integrity of the R1 zoning. No other property in the neighboring area will come and say, they gave him a duplex, I want a duplex, because then you won't be able.
And the
to
setback that we're
afford it.
asking is just the setbacks that were there on the original building.
Okay, so my question is, this was built back in, before my time, back in 48,
Yes.
and it's been a duplex all along.
Yeah, we looked at the microfilm and it was a duplex, a small duplex. So now they are adding on the sides to enlarge it.
So it has been a non-conforming
Yes.
use all this time,
Yes,
and so
but they are the if they leave the duplex as it is, they don't have to do anything.
right.
But since they are increasing the property, they are expanding the non-conforming use. So
Right, no,
that's why they need a variance.
I understand that.
They need to replat the property because in the records, when we looked at the records of the permit that was pulled for the duplex, the lot was bigger, and the lot was bigger all the time because, as he explained, it was a family compound that it had 3 houses. And they sold one part first, another part first. When they come here, if they don't touch the houses, if they don't come to the city to anything, we cannot tell them you have to replat. But since he's improving the property, to make everything, to have everything perfect, he also needs to replat the property.
Okay, my question is, given everything that you just brought forth, I'm trying to avoid the hearsay or the accusations or the finger pointing that, hey, wait a minute, see, they're squeezing in an R2, a duplex in there, it's a wedge and
No, because it was there, and that's why we are preserving the area.
you're grandfathering, it's something that was,
The use, it is grandfather already. It's
Right.
legal non-conforming because it was done with permits.
right,
So we are expanding, we are giving a variance to expand that non-conformity. We are not giving them the, if something happens and that catches fire, that is R1 with low density residential. If they want to build a duplex, then at that time they will need to come and rezone the property.
I understand that.
okay. No, I just want to make sure that, come tomorrow or the next day, you get a couple of neighbors say, hey, wait a minute. See, there's the wedge right there.
No, and
I want,
and I understand, and like I said, I did not mind rebaptizing the property through a rezoning if that's what it takes. And I understand the department concern about creating something, so the alternative works with us, we are,
and you have enough footage to,
yeah,
what
we
you're-
got plenty of land the way it is to improve the
We are
property.
changing, it's not that we are approving with conditions, we are approving, but we are changing the petition. It's like we approve the amended request.
yeah, again, chance at the risk of repeating myself, it all revolves around the fact that it was built in 48 and it's been
Absolutely.
in use since that, come on.
And it's funny when I research the property, because if you go through the whole neighborhood, when the plat was originally done as lots, individual lots, like it used to happen many times, very few lots got sold because it was the hurricane of 1926, according to what I read. Now, I wasn't there. And then on 28, they replatted to tracts once again, because that's the only way they could have animals and agricultural uses on it. And then after the war on 48, if you look at the whole neighborhood, that's when they start building all the houses. And this guy, I guess as an investment, instead of having just a 50-foot by 104 house, he built a family compound. And I think this probably be the first replat on that neighborhood, because everybody has their legal means and bounds, because
Well, because the plat ordinance in the county was approved in the 70s. So before that, there was no.
there was no reason to replat. And, he built one of the houses in 72, the other one in 67. And since he built it all within one folio, then they separated, but the houses were already there.
Good deal. Any comments or questions? Okay, no comments or questions from the board. Anyone in the audience? None heard. There's no one in the electronic audience, but if there is, speak now, forever hold your peace. Close the public hearing. What's the pleasure of the board?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, motion by Mr. Iglesias, second by Mr. Amon.
Hold the roll. No, we are imposing conditions, right?
No, we are amending the report.
Oh, I meant, okay, go
So
ahead.
it's approved
As amended.
Right.
Okay, as amended, okay.
Oh, yeah, well, the condition is that we must replat before we can get a CU.
Exactly. Yes.
Mr. Jimenez,
Yes.
Mr. Ulloa,
Yes.
Mr. Iglesias,
Yes.
Mr. Casanova,
Yes.
Mr. D. Perez.
Yes.
Mrs. Enriquez,
Yes.
Mr. Amon.
Yes.
Okay, item has been approved with conditions and a motion to amend the petition has been approved as well.
Thank you.
Okay, item number 4. Oh, The applicant.
The applicant is not here, but it's something very straightforward. And the only condition that I am putting is that they have to remove some concrete to have the 30% green area. That is something that they cannot say no. because there's no way no plans will be approved. So my recommendation is that we read it and that we move forward because all the meetings are so loaded. And this is to cure a violation, so I will go ahead and read it and you consider it.
Okay, perfect.
Item number 4. Variance permit to allow 36.9% lot coverage where 30% is the maximum allowed. Allow 18 feet rear setback where 20 feet is the minimum required. And allow 3.25 feet south side setback where 5 feet 1 inch are required for the legalization of additions built without the benefit of a building permit. Contrary to City of Hialeah, Florida ordinance 84-170 that allows single-family type units on property zoned R35 multiple family district. A contract to section 98-2056 B2 that provides 30% maximum lot coverage. Properties located at 6277 West 22nd Lane, Hialeah zoned R35 multiple family district. Applicant Argelia Leon.
Thank you. So the applicant is not present.
The applicant is not present,
Okay.
but it's very.
Go ahead and read it.
The property in this application is located on the west side of West 22nd Lane, south of West 64th Street, in an extremely dense area developed with single-family homes on 35 feet by 98 feet lots built under a variance granted in 1984, Ordinance 84-170. The subject property has an open code compliance case for building a driveway without a permit, and through the processing of the driveway permit, staff found out that an addition and utility were built at the rear of the property without the benefit of a building permit. The applicant is proposing to demolish the utility, demolish the metal enclosure around the rear addition, and legalize the existing aluminum roof to utilize the space as an open terrace. To be able to legalize the aluminum roof, the applicant is requesting a variance to allow 36.9% lot coverage where 30% is required, allow 18 feet rear setback where 20 feet are required, and allow 3.25 feet south side setback where 5 feet 1 inch are required for a distance of 16.5 feet. The submitted proposal does not include the removal of approximately 480 square feet of pavement necessary to comply with the required 30% pervious area. The lot coverage and rear setback variances could be approved since similar variances were granted to neighboring properties. The side setback could also be approved since the aluminum roof follows the exterior line of the house, but the side setback is reduced eastward because the house is not parallel to the property lines. However, the applicant will need to remove paved areas and comply with the required 30% pervious area, since reduced pervious area impact the adjacent street and neighboring properties, causing flooding. Recommendation: approve lot coverage and setback variances with the condition that the addition remains a terrace open on 3 sides and that 30% pervious area is provided.
Thank you. All right, given the fact that the applicant is not present, is there any comment or question from the board? Is there anyone in the audience that might want to chime in? Anyone in the electronic audience? Okay, this is public hearing. What's the pleasure of the board?
Motion to approve.
Second that motion.
Motion by Mr. Iglesias, second by Mr. Gamon and Mr. Casanova. Mr. Jimenez,
Yes.
Mr. Casanova, Mr. D. Perez,
Yes.
Mrs. Enriquez,
Yes.
Mr. Ayua, Mr. Gamon,
Yes.
Mr. Iglesias.
Yes.
Item has been approved with conditions. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Miscellaneous items not requiring advertising. Item number 5, old business. Okay, no business. Item number 6, new business.
Okay,
Yes.
under new business, we have election for chair and for vice chair, so nominate. Those are,
I want to nominate Diego Perez for chairman.
Second the motion. Or nomination.
A motion by Mr. Ramon, second by Mr. Iglesias. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Mr. Ayua,
No.
Mr. Casanova,
Yes.
Mr. D Perez,
yes,
Mr. Ramon,
Yes.
Mrs. Enrique,
Yes.
Mr. Iglesias,
Yes.
Mr. Jimenez,
Yes.
motion has passed. Congratulations.
thank you all. I will do my best, keep trying to do my best to serve the city and serve y'all, and it is an honor and a privilege.
It's an honor to have you representing us.
Thank you. Okay, now we need to move on to vice chair. So will you please nominate someone for vice chair.
I would like to nominate Ms. Enriquez.
Second that
Did we get a second?
Second.
We have a second.
Motion by Mr. Ulloa, second by Mr. Jimenez. Mr. Casanova,
Yes.
Mr. Di Perez,
Yes.
Mr. Amon,
Yes.
Mr. Iglesias,
Yes.
Ms. Enriquez,
Yes.
Mr. Ulloa,
Yes.
Mr. Jimenez.
Yes.
Motion has passed. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
We need a speech now.
Oh, no.
No? Oh,
I would like to say something. My decision was not based on anybody's performance. Mr. Perez, I respect you immensely. I think that what you've done throughout the years has been nothing but honorable. And you are, I'd say, the best that's been here. But
Thank
I always like to see opportunities arise for other people and everything.
Sure.
So if there's an opportunity for somebody to take a seat and show what they can do, I would love to see that. But still, I have nothing but the utmost respect for you, sir. And I wish you the best of luck, and I will be by your side, and anything I need from me, you
Thank
can
you.
me too. And thank you for serving the city that way as long as you have.
Thank you.
And that's very honorable.
It is,
And I
it
respect
is,
that.
it's an honor.
Hold
and-
on, And I would like to apply
Thank you.
for doing what you've done for so many years and continuing doing it. Thank you, sir.
It's an honor and a privilege.
And Ms. Enriquez, congratulations.
Congratulations.
Love to see
Thank you.
you up there.
All right.
Just make sure you bring a cake.
Okay, any more new business?
No, no, no.
Can we stop the rain, please?
Yes.
Well, it's sunny now.
It's sunny. Oh, look. See,